We are going to discuss why simply going to your neighborhood wall might be doing more harm than good to your game. You might think that, hey, I'm just going to go over to the wall right now, spend 30 minutes, 40 minutes just bouncing the ball off. I mean, this has to help my game, right? How can it not? How can more reps not help my game? But here's the thing. The wall is good for one thing, right? And it doesn't matter what kind of wall. I mean, look what I'm bouncing the ball off right now. A couple planks of wood, right? But the wall is only good for one thing, which is building repetition. More importantly, building muscle memory. And the worst thing that you can do for your game, or the biggest thing you can do if you're in favor of stagnating your game, is building muscle memory on poor technique. So here's the thing. It's one thing if I saw you going up to the wall and I see you thinking like this, right? Your legs are moving, your arms are moving the way they should be, right? This is one thing. This can be a positive thing, okay? But this is usually not the case. Normally, when I see people heading over to the wall, I'll give you guys a few examples. I mean, mind my son over here walking into the frame. But 3-5 players, for example, right? I usually see this happen in two ways. They come up to a wall, they want to work on their dink. It's either they start bouncing the ball off the wall and their legs are this straight. Very little leg bend. Their leg is barely involved in the shot. Well, guess what? If you make a couple hundred reps like this, what do you think is going to happen in the game? Your legs are also not going to bend in the game. If that is how you are spending hundreds of dinks up against the wall, you will not bend your legs. On the flip side, there's also 3-5 players out there that I've seen that will go up to a wall that will exaggerate the leg bend because they've heard, by the way, even the floor here has all these different cuts and all that. The ball's going to be bouncing all over the place. But same deal. They will overcompensate. They will stay bent throughout the whole shot. They will never come up, and they will always stay like this. Once again, poor mechanics. But then, okay, what if you're a 4-0 player, right? You have to be safe. Your mechanics have to be great. Probably not, right? So on average, what I see 4-0, 4-2, 5 players is their wrist is a little too active. Their legs might be a little better, but guess what? They've heard that they have to spin their dinks. Again, we've got to watch out for the floor here. They've heard that they have to spin their dinks to put force on it, but guess what? They spin it using their wrist, right? Instead of using their legs, instead of using their forearm, they're going to be using their wrist. And if they do a few hundred reps of this, where they're using their wrist to generate the spin, right? What's going to happen? They're going to introduce that into their game as well. So what am I saying? Am I saying that you should never use a wall to practice? Absolutely not. But what I am saying is that the next time you go up to a wall, record your session. Look at how you're hitting your shot. Go online, compare that to the pros. Compare that to players that are way higher than you. There's a lot of Facebook groups, Discord groups out there where people share their gameplay and ask for advice from higher rated players who have better mechanics. Find out what you're doing wrong and try to fix it when you're working at the wall. The reason why players stagnate, a lot of players will stagnate at the 4-0, 4-2, 5 level in their pickleball career, no matter how many hours they put into the sport, for that reason alone, that they've built so much repetition on bad technique, and at some point that bad technique will limit your progress. Think about it like this. Imagine I just wanted to go up to the wall and practice throwing it, right? But when I threw the ball a little bit behind me, right? So instead of me throwing the ball here naturally, I'm throwing the ball kind of behind me, right? But I'm doing a lot of reps of this, right? A lot of reps, but the ball is behind me. Guess what? I will get very good at throwing the ball from behind me, right? I'll be able to throw quicker, and quicker, but at some point, I'm going to be limited by just how fast I can throw it because it's not a great spot to be throwing from, right? My body's way in front of the ball. I'm losing a lot of power here, right? I can get better at doing this, but I'll be limited. If I learn to throw the ball properly, man, that I did not mean for. Think about what I said there, right? If I'm creating muscle memory and improving the way I'm throwing the ball from behind me, I'm going to start throwing the ball more like that, and my skill level of how fast, how well I can throw a ball, how accurately I can throw a ball will always be limited. Same thing when it comes to any technique of any sport, okay? If you have poor technique on your dinks, on your volleys, whatever it might be, on your rolls, and you're going up to the wall and you're hitting those repetitions, you'll get better hitting with poor technique, but you're putting a cap at yourself. So I got another ball, and now we can move on to the second part, which is, you might think something as innocuous as just volleying off the wall. I mean, how can this be bad for you? You're not working on your hand-eye coordination, right? That can't all be bad. Well, it still is, and guess what? It's because if you want to keep a rally with this wall, you have to be volleying upwards, right? My paddle face is kind of always pointed upwards to keep this rally going, because if I pointed it straight ahead, right, like that, all of a sudden I start losing it below my waist. And everybody has it in mind for some reason or another when they're hitting volleys or working with a wall that they've got to hit 200, 300, 400 shots without a single miss. You know, that's the goal that people make for one reason or another. But there's no reason for that. And more importantly, it builds muscle memory to keep your paddle face open for no reason again. Now, normally speaking, when I'm trying to work on volleys against the wall, like what do? Well, I actually try to work on, let's say, resetting the ball or blocking the ball. Because here's the thing. If I block the ball, my paddle face facing up, I mean, that was a miss altogether. Paddle face being up, right? I'm gonna get destroyed on the very next shot. Now again, if we speed it up, right? That's what I'm talking about. I'm gonna get destroyed, right? But if I'm trying to keep the rally going, paddle face up, apparently that's what you're supposed to be doing, right? But no, I wanna keep my paddle face straight forward or down. That's the goal, right here. That's what I want. But there's no way to continue the rally, but that's okay. Get used to having these one ball resets with the ball, because then you're actually gonna have a rally that makes much more sense for in the game. So some other stuff I like working on when I'm working with the wall, right? I like working on stuff where I can kind of make sure that my position is reset after every ball, because I can really dial in on my mechanics. So for example, a lot of people should work on this, right? Their backhand flick, right? More importantly, reaching in and flicking, right? I'm 5'9". Guess what? That's obviously not, I'm not tall. I don't have the greatest reach, so I have to maximize how well I hit this backhand flick. I have to make up for the fact that my arm's not that long, right? So if I play against someone that's 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", they could be a bit lazier in their mechanics and how they reach and they hit that backhand flick. I cannot. I have to maximize it, okay? So if I'll go up against a wall and I will force myself, right, to improve my mechanics, to have a better reach in and have a better shot. Just waiting for my son to move a little bit, right? So how would I do that? Okay, I'll come up to the wall, probably measure it out, obviously, right? Load up, right? Load up the glutes, weight forward, right? That's how you normally want to be when you're reaching in. You want to be hinged at the hips, weight forward, right? Your arm forward, your wrist broken to an extent, right? That's where you be generating your power. My son's working on my microphone cable there. There's no way to get my shot off of him in front of me. Yeah, I'm sorry for the production quality, fellas. It's a little tough when you're on baby duty and trying to film a video here. But if he stays there, we might be able to make it work. Just don't tell the mother. So, but the point being, right? So I want to make sure I'm in this position. I'm reaching in and I'm getting comfortable, right? I'm getting comfortable with having my paddle face that far out, right? Because if you're not practicing this, you might only be comfortable here when it comes to flicking the ball, right? Because you've only practiced it here, right? I want to be comfortable there, that if I need to, and I want to surprise my opponent sometimes, right? That I'm not just going to go for a dink out of the air. I'm sometimes going to surprise them, right? With a little flick. Even though I can't generate that much power from this position, it's a surprise attack. So, I'm going to do this very quickly. I'm going to step over my son here before he notices, right? So, if I'm here, boom, right? That's what I'm going for. And I would try to push the envelope and see how lower, how further away can I get that ball away from me. That's too easy. Right here, boom, right? I'm gonna back away a little bit. Too short for that one. But maybe not. Maybe I have to just build more trust, because maybe it was still possible, right? So again, let's try. Here, boom. Probably hit the net on that one. That's okay. Here, that one cleared barely, okay? You get the idea. And notice how I'm resetting it after every time. And I'm also keeping a mental note. What is my form looking at? Am I suddenly standing up straight? Am I suddenly, my back's pulled up a little bit? Is my arm not out? But the whole point of this is to say that using a wall willy-nilly is not going to help you. You still have to be proactive in how you use a wall. So film your sessions. okay? Compare yourself to players that are way better, players that are mechanically sound. That's also very important because you will find people that are gifted, that have poor mechanics, and they're still 5-0 players. But you'll notice their technique is a little wonky, but they still make it happen because they're simply gifted. And more importantly, out of all of this, stop focusing on keeping a rally with the wall. That's not gonna get you better, okay? Get more comfortable in having those one ball resets, right? Even the same idea. I mean, let me bring the camera around. Like for example, if I wanna work on my backhand roll, right? Not my volley, roll. So first of all, I'm keeping this in mind, my opponents are on the baseline. So I'm okay with hitting up on that ball compared to a regular volley because they're at the baseline, so I wanna get some depth on the shot, right? It will be the same idea. 1-point rallies with the wall, right? Trying to clear my sun here, but we back up a little bit here, and boom. And I catch it, and guess what? I reset it. Again, feed, here, boom, right? Here, boom, okay? You get the idea, right? Because guess what? Me following up and hitting a second shot off that, it would be impossible because first of all, you can see all that spin I'm generating. That ball is bouncing off the wall hella wonky. If I were to follow up and try to keep a rally going, I'm getting no benefit from that. So those are my tips for how you should be using a wall and how you should not be using a wall. If you found this video helpful, leave me a like, comment if you have any questions for me, comments, rebuttals, I'll take any of that. And subscribe if you haven't. Other than that, I'll see you guys out there.